Do you want to master Minecraft so that you can trap people like this? Combo people like this? And have block placement like this? Then this is a tutorial for you, because today I'm gonna be teaching you everything I know about Minecraft PvP to try to get you to master it with an intermediate tutorial. Now, intermediate basically means that you do have to know the basics of Minecraft PvP. So if you don't, maybe this video will be a little bit too advanced for you. So let's get started. So basically there are really 5 aspects about Minecraft PvP that I'm gonna be teaching you today. So wait, hold on, let me just step aside real quick. And those top 5 are the combo method, the aim, the movement, the playstyle/tactic, and finally the block placement. So let's get started with the combo method. Now in the combo method there is 2 categories, with one being how to start a combo and the second one how to keep a combo. So let's begin with how to start a combo. So there is really only 2 methods to getting a combo that I think every pro PvPer can agree on. The first one is called W tapping. Okay, wait, now pause everything for 1 second. So the way that you W tap is basically, in simple words, you want to release the W button and then press it again after hitting the opponent. However, if you want to understand it in a more advanced way, we have to understand how knockback works. Whenever you hit someone, they take a very little bit of knockback, but mostly upwards velocity. Upwards velocity basically means that they will go up in the air. Then the opponent will reach their maximum upwards velocity, which basically means that they will no longer continue to go up. After that, the opponent will then go on a phase of them going down. Then lastly, just a general thing that I want to tell you. Every time you hit an opponent, the first hit always does the most knockback. And then every time you hit the opponent, they will just continue to take less and less knockback every time. Now I've told you all of this just so you can understand W tapping better and understand why it works. Basically, you don't just want to release your W button right after hitting the opponent. You want to release it for a brief second before the opponent reaches the maximum upward velocity. And then also W tapping works by resetting your sprint, basically giving you that most knockback hit every single time you hit the opponent. And then if you time it right, all of those knockbacks will add up and you will get a combo. Now going to the second method, which is called block hitting. Now block hitting basically works like the same timing as W tapping, except you want to keep holding that W button the entire time, but you want to block your sword and then release it again before the opponent reaches their maximum upwards velocity. Okay, so basically I'm fighting this guy, right? I'm fighting this guy and I come here and basically I block my sword right here, and if we skip to literally less than 5 milliseconds later, I think 3 milliseconds, you can see that he's basically at his maximum upwards velocity. Here's another trade. So you can see right here, I block my sword, and 2 milliseconds later, he is at his maximum upwards velocity. So it's the same timing as W tapping, just like block your sword, and you want to always hold the W button. And here it is on another angle. Now, which one is better? Honestly, I don't really know, and I'm not gonna really get into it in this video. But all you have to know is that W tapping deals more knockback to the opponent, while sword blocking gives you less knockback, and there's a very slight chance that you also take 50% less damage from, a hit also. And anyways, let's go on how to keep a combo. There is also 2 methods on keeping a combo, but I'm gonna keep this section very short. The first method is, again, W tapping. So basically, keeping a combo while using the W tapping method is really simple. Basically, after you hit an opponent, you want to hold the W button for just a slight second. You just want to hold it for like half or less than half a second. And then you want to hit the opponent again. This way you're resetting your sprint and you're dealing enough knockback to keep the opponent out of your range, but you're moving enough to keep them in your range. Here's an example. So as I'm fighting this guy, I'm gonna do the W tapping method, and just look at the top right corner, you will see my keystrokes. And so as you can see, every time I'm hitting the opponent, I'm moving for a slight second, and then it's completely stopping my movement. You can see that by my keystrokes. So a good way to time it when you should move is either after hearing the tick sound, you want to move forward, or after seeing the opponent flash red, you can also move forward. And then the other method is block hitting, and yeah, you guessed right, block hitting is just blocking your sword, kind of the same thing as doing the combo. However, W tapping is actually really it is very superior, so I will just go through it very quickly. I just wanted to say that it is technically impossible to hold a really long combo if you just block your sword and you're always sprinting. I will show you why right now. Alright, now I'm in a single player world and I'm gonna tell you how it works. So basically, whenever you're W tapping, right, I'm gonna tell you why it doesn't work. So whenever you're W tapping, you're completely stopping your sprint, right? You're not moving any extra amount. If you time it right, you're moving the same every single time. But as you can see, I'm still moving. So whenever you block your sword, you are always moving just a little bit. So whenever you hit opponent, block your sword, hit opponent, block your sword, basically block it, you're moving a little bit. And in the end, all of the small all the small steps that you're taking is gonna add up, and you're gonna get too close to your opponent. And obviously after maybe 5 hits, you're gonna be too close to your opponent because you're moving a small amount. So that's why basically nobody really does block hitting to keep a combo, and just do W tapping instead. But yeah, here is an example. Alright, so I did get a block hit combo here, but it's actually not I'm still W tapping. I'm just blocking my sword after each hit. Now blocking your sword after each hit when comboing isn't that bad, because let's say that you actually get hit, well, you most likely will take a little bit less damage and maybe less knockback as well, so you might be able to regain the combo. Now that the combo method is finally over, oh my god, we are going to go to the aim. Now whenever you're trying to start a combo, you should look below the opponent's waist. There's a lot higher chance that you will get a combo, and I'm gonna prove it with this clip. What you guys just saw, what in that clip was me proving that if you aim at the person's head, you have a lot more range than if you hit them on the waist. This means that if you're trading hits and close to the opponent, you should hit them under the waist. But once you're in a combo, you should hit them on their head, because that gives you a lot more range. I think this is called head locking or aim locking or something with lock. But let me prove it another time with a clip. The best game modes to train your aim are fast-paced game modes like Sumo and Top Bridge Fight. Alright, now to summarize everything, when you're trying to get the combo, you should look below the opponent's waist, and if you're trying to keep a combo for longer and not get hit, you should look at their head to get better range. But now let's move on to movement. Alright, now we are in a single player world because I do not have any friends. So basically, usually whenever you're fighting, if you didn't notice already, you would just go up to the opponent and just go straight and fight the opponent. Okay, now I'm gonna show you the actual clip. Alright, now we are in a single player world. Usually whenever you're fighting, if you didn't notice already, you would just go up to the opponent and just go straight and fight the opponent. This isn't really optimal, because that way you're really a lot more predictable. What you should do instead is move so that the opponent has to track you as well. So you could do, for example, like this. You could move left and then right. Okay, so left, right. This way the opponent has to track you left, right. You could go rapid left and right, which just press the and A button, rapid. like this way, or maybe hold it a little bit longer, like that. This way the opponent has to like track you like that as well. Or you could do your own variation, like go right first and then rapid and then left, or go right first and then quickly left, or do rapid and then right. Basically whatever, you can just do whatever variation you want, just make sure that you're moving. Movement is one of the most important parts like of Minecraft. With movement it makes a lot more of a difference. But you don't want to be moving all the time. I would say the first couple of hits and the first trade is one of the most important parts to be moving. But now let's go in a game and let's show some examples. Alright, so I'm just gonna show you guys a quick example of just a quick game. Please, please, please. Please! Oh no, no. Fuck. Okay, I need to go in a proper match and show you guys properly. Okay, so we're just gonna move, right? I'm gonna move rapidly. Left, then right. You see. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the next one. Alright, so all you gotta do is just make sure that you're moving while you're fighting. But the next one will be playstyle slash tactic. This one is a little bit difficult to explain because there's a lot of tactics for different playstyles, for different games, for every person, for every mode, for every situation. But I'm gonna try to be as like overall as I can. In Hypixel, you wanna get 27 iron, 1 stone sword, and 64 stacks of blocks. Then you wanna bridge to your opponent. In Fireball Fight, you just wanna place a TNT so you can get a jump boost at the start. And if you play Emerald Rush for whatever strange reason, you wanna get an egg, a fireball, and a diamond sword in the beginning. But a playstyle tip that I have is to have a calm, but most importantly, patient playstyle. I'm gonna keep the word patient in this video because just look at this guy. Now look, he's just doing the same move with his fireball ready with full health to fireball to you, but he's just doing the same move 7 times in a row. But here is what happens if you're not patient. You will TNT or fireball to the other side and he will go to your bed. Another example is bridge fight, where this guy is just standing on top of me with his bridge, just looking at me. And as you guys can see, I was impatient and he ended up killing me. Instead, you could do something like this. We just sit in another place and he will end up coming down. And then in Fireball, you should just stand there, just wait for him. Do not do anything, do not try to bridge to him. He will end up fireballing to you. And then the other tip that I have is to be calm. So let's say that you get killed a bunch of times and you're really angry. You will do compulsive things. So make sure that you know what you're doing. Make sure that you are in control. Don't just spam blocks like this. Just build blocks where you know that you are in control. And when you are angry, you might do that. You might end up falling down if you're angry. So just be calm and make sure that you are in control. You can also just sit here. So you can also just abuse just sitting here. Just sit here. We're low. As you guys can see, this guy just threw a fireball and then he fireball to us. And then now we can get his bed. We can place a TNT and we will get his bed. Right? So we can also use the methods that the people are using against us. Right? Just like that. For example, in Bed Wars, maybe break the opponent's block under him so that he falls to the void. Right? And then also bridge like this. And then also just sit on top of this, just looking at him. That way he will try to bridge off, maybe not. But if he did, you would definitely get a free hit on him. Now let's move on to block placements. Alright, so now we're in the block placements category, and there's 3 main categories in the block placements. So there's just the block placements, there's exits, and there's also traps. So let's just get started with the block placements. So as you already know, like I said, this is an intermediate tutorial. You probably do know about the single block placement. It's just whenever an opponent is running at you, you place a block and then it stops their movement, and then you can get a free combo on them, or the worst case scenario, you will just trade hits. Now that you already know, and you might also know the God method, which is placing 2 blocks instead. And then you have various different ways to, you know, juke the person. So you could, now don't move. So you could just like go right and then hit the opponent. You could also go left and then right to juke the person. Or you could also stand on the right side, for example, and then place a block so that when the opponent tries to come to you, you block it. I'm not gonna go too much into it since you probably know all of that, but that is just the very basics, and you can basically do whatever variation you like. You can also go from the top and hit the opponent from there. Okay, so now on to the second block placement. So just placing blocks. This is how it looks like. So you want to place a 3-block pillar, right? So just like this, and then you want to place some blocks above you, and then some blocks in front of you like that. This way you're protected from the above, and you're also protecting yourself from the front. And this kind of, the goal with the block placements is to put the opponent in a comfortable position. That is the main goal about the entire point of block placements. But this one doesn't do that very well. It kind of puts you both in a position where you just trade hits. If you get lucky, you might get an extra hit. You can like place blocks to block yourself off. If the opponent tries to go from the side, then you can just continue to extend everything out if you really want to. So this isn't the most practical, but I think learning the move is definitely a useful tool. Let's say we have this here, right? And then if this person is standing there, in this scenario I can hit the opponent and then I can place a block in front of me. This way, I block off the opponent hits. It doesn't always work, it's not guaranteed, but it is something useful. Now we're gonna move on to the middle exits, or the exits, whatever you want to call them. So the exit is basically placing a set of moves and then you exit out, usually in the middle. And that way, the opponent usually doesn't know where you're gonna go out. It's gonna be confusing. One example on the middle exit is using this block placement. So you place 2 blocks, first up like that, extend 2 blocks out and a block in the middle, creating this gate-like design. This way you can break the block and go and just break it and then hit the opponent just like that. So kind of like this, and if I just quickly place the structure like that, for example, and then you can break it, sort of hit the opponent, place it back if you're really fast. You could also break it and then place a block in the front there. It usually doesn't always work. If the opponent is already standing in the middle, the block won't always place. The opponent might phase through it. So you need to be really fast, but if you can get the timing right and just place a block right there so the opponent can't come at you, it is something good, and then you should block it off. And then you could also, of course, go from the top, do whatever variation you like. Now, this is another one. It's a really more common one. Basically, everyone knows this, so maybe not gonna trick too many people, but it looks like this. It is just placing a 3-block pillar like that, and then placing in another motion. This way, you can break out of that and then hit the opponent. It's the same thing as the gate, just a little bit more protected since you're protecting yourself from the up and the side as well. Again, you can just break the block, hit the opponent, or place a block there. It's the same thing, just a different, structure. It's difficult more to build, but it gives you more protection. So example would be if I build this and I place it, and then the opponent could just go through it, which is why I say this isn't the best, more secure method. But if the opponent is a little bit more further away, then it could be useful like that. And then of course you don't have, with this one that I said, you don't always have to place that block in the front. You could just place it out like that. This way you have a lot more freedom. You could break this. The opponent doesn't know which one you're gonna break, so you could break this one, hit the opponent, place it back. You could go from the top, you could go from this side, extend it, And then again, you're not the most secure, so you're not like securing above you, but it is still a good method. And then you could like do whatever variation you like. Okay, now I'm gonna show what it looks like from the other opponent's POV. No, so now we're moving on to traps and just traps. So there's two things. One of them is that you want to block in. So here is how to block in. Blocking in can look like this, and essentially when you're blocking is because it's only when you're like when you block yourself in with blocks. So we give you a little bit of time to break the block, to break a bit. So the movement goes like this. You want to build a pillar that goes 3 blocks high, place a block above you, block 2 blocks behind you, and then 2 blocks there. So like that. And then you can break. If the opponent comes, you can break the block, hit the opponent, mine, break the block, hit the opponent, place it back, do whatever you want. So here's how it would look like that, really fast. There are also other movements, other ways as well to build it, but the one that I showed you is the most practical one. Right? And lastly, here's a trap that you can do. So if an opponent is coming up to you in this shape of a bed, you can do this. You can place this block right here, jump, place that block, extend the block out, extend 2 blocks out, place a block there, and then 2 blocks below. This way, if opponent falls into your trap, they cannot move, and you have a free space to kill them, and they cannot hit you at all. And here is how it looks at full speed. Oh wait, yeah, I'm not that fast, so I'm not really too good at it, but it is one more time. I'm not really too good at it, but yeah, that's it. And now let me just show some examples in game. Trade fine. Oh, okay, it did work for us. Oh, okay, GG's. I don't know. I wanted to kill him with my TNT. Yeah, so that was really it. I genuinely, if I could have filmed the video for longer, I would have gotten a lot more clips. But I really have to make this video. It's been 3 weeks since I've been trying to make it, guys. I genuinely hope that you guys like this video. It took me 3 weeks more just to film everything, edit it, and I still haven't made the thumbnail, and I still have to edit this last part. So if you guys learned something, if you guys, learned anything, enjoy the video for entertainment, anything, or if you guys just want to support me for my 1 month of editing time, please leave a like or a comment or a sub. The sub helps out the most. Have a good day. Peace.